हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामीति नमः। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणचारिणि निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणि। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we'll start with a nice scientific understanding why only bhakti is needed. Not only bhakti, bhakti is compulsory needed for the success of other processes also. So untangling the false ego through the progressive mechanism of bhakti and analytical mapping of Srimad Bhagavatam, tracing the soul's journey from entanglement of material identity through the paradox of causeless mercy to the painful purification of heart. So I will explain what it means. But basically, what I want to tell is why bhakti is compulsory for jnana and yoga. We'll try to scientifically understand, not just because we are bhaktas, we'll say that will only work. Of course, Lord says we accept like that, but we have to understand the root cause behind it. We'll try to figure it out. So, consciousness becomes trapped when artificially fused with matter. So that's actually what is happening. Our consciousness is fusing with uh, because we are identifying with matter, so our consciousness is getting trapped. So the root cause is the false ego, karma grandhi or hridaya grandhi, forms when pure consciousness identifies entirely with material elements. Right? We all agree. So as long as the primary focus remains on matter, the mind is violently and continually torn towards it. And that is how our mind is presently. It is focused in matter only. All the time we are doing activities connected to matter. We cook, we eat, we take care of the body, we work. It's all dealing with matter only, right? Directly. So as long as the primary focus remains matter, mind is violently and continually torn towards it. So very directly with Krishna, like we are sitting and hearing Bhagavatam. This is direct with Krishna, chanting the holy name, direct with Krishna. But still, mind does not stay with Bhagavatam or holy name or anything. It always goes to matter. All spiritual paths aim to separate consciousness from matter. The mechanism they use determines whether they succeed or not. So all the paths are karma, jnana, yoga. They're all meant for only one thing: separating the consciousness from matter. Because I am involved in material activity, my consciousness goes to matter. So that's why jnanis and yogis they take sannyas. So they don't want to involve with matter much because it is entangling. If I deal with family, relatives, friends, job, my mind is caught up with these things. So you have to have a process which helps you to disconnect, separate consciousness from matter. So now that's why we have, so liberation requires either artificial tearing or natural magnetic attraction. So there are two paths. Artificial tearing is represents austerity, jnana, and renunciation. So what they do, they take sannyas, they artificially tear. Relay and relies on forcefully ripping consciousness away from matter. It is complicated, painful, and highly artificial. Klesho adhikataras tesham. When it comes to bhakti, relying on meditation on an infinitely attractive focal point, Krishna. So the mind naturally breaks its material bonds because it is drawn to something inherently superior. So this is the process, it's an attraction. We will see how it happens also. It's not just end, it's the beginning only. Please hold on. Try to understand the scientific method. You'll also like it. So the mind naturally breaks its material bonds because it is drawn to something inherently superior in the process of bhakti. Okay. Now a diagnostic comparison of spiritual methodologies. Now in the path of jnana and yoga and path of bhakti, we see in path of jnana and yoga destroy the ego through negation. See, what is holding us? The hold is false ego, right? The root cause is false ego. Now I have to come out of this. Separating consciousness from matter means I have to cut this false ego. You all understand? You all agree? Now, in the process of jnana and karma, the cutting of false ego is what? Is through negation. Whereas in the path of bhakti, it provides a new spiritual ego. So both are working with ego. One is destroying ego, one is giving new ego. So positive identification, that means I am servant of my guru. That's where it starts. Impersonal and formless, painful and practically impossible to concentrate on. So it is impersonal, formless. Now it is infinitely attractive, absolute, and his pastimes deeply natural. So to get attracted. First is I am Brahman in Jnana Marga, whereas in Bhakti I am servant. Servant of what? For spiritual master it starts. And ego is suppressed by eventually rebounds, and material ego is permanently replaced by eternal nature. So here again and again the ego is coming here to suppress. Now why bhakti is compulsory for jnana and yoga also? That is our point of discussion. So here suppressing ego through negation triggers an inevitable rebound. That means what happens in phase one, there is an acid test. The practitioner attempt to burn out ego using the sulfuric acid of constant negation. But what happened? The soul enters a frozen state of suppression, like Maharaj Trishanku, trapped endlessly between heaven and earth. And then phase is because the soul cannot fix on a formless absolute, patanti ado self. That's why Prabhupada gives na aruhya kurchena patanti ado. Spiritual self identification phase, the suppressed ego violently snaps back. So now resulting realities, the lofty mantra of Aham Brahmasmi quickly degrades back into I must rule over my 3 room apartment and my cat. So his false ego is again coming back. So that is actually what is happening. So the reason is the knot is cut not by destruction of ego but by changing of anchor. The mechanism Bhakti provides liberation because it turns on the spirit. An actual object of service appears, that is spiritual matter. So in the terms karma and jnana also, na, bhakti is the provider which helps to turn on and remove that ego part. That's why bhakti is needed in karma and jnana parts also, to help them remove the ego, which is the root cause. Because bhakti provide, because it turns on the spirit, an actual object of service. So the soul, only when it serves, the ego is cut. A person becomes exactly what they focus on. Through constant reflection, anvaya, uh, anudhyana, on divine pastimes, the qualitative nature of the practitioner shifts. The new ego, the sword that cuts, yadyanudhyasin yuktaha, karma granthi nibandhana, karma granthi are cut. The sword that cuts the false ego is simply the rising of superior identity. As one listener realizes, I no longer want to be fan of uh, like CSK, whatever, this some other term. I want to be in the team of Krishna. So means some cricket team or anything. I want to be the team of Krishna and his devotees. So new ego is coming. The total transformation becomes with a painfully timid first interest. So Shraddha. So here what is happening is in karma and jnana, we are trying to forcefully cut. But the cutting is possible with the help of bhakti because the spirit is developed. We have to have little bit of devotion to cut it. Otherwise not possible. No matter how much we do, soul did not get touch only. Soul is not getting that this spirit is not coming. Actual service is important. So here first Shraddha, the spark, Satam Krupa. The beginning was so far so timid first interest. I would have flatly rest with. So like some devotees is confessing. So now involuntary meditation can be triggered by provoking the false ego. So this is the point. Like when someone has no faith, Srila Prabhupada would attack the ego directly. You think you are good? You are a scoundrel. What Prabhupada is doing, you see that point here. Prabhupada is attacking the ego when someone has no faith. What is the mechanism? When false ego hurts, mind cannot let it go. It fixes on the insult and the philosophy behind it. Involuntarily, meditation begins. Say if somebody came to you and he is not ready to take, then suddenly you said, you think you are so intelligent, then Acharyas also, or you are so intelligent, then Krishna also. Then what happens? He want to justify his stand. No, no, I am right only. So in justifying what he does, he start looking the philosophy behind his life. On what basis he is living that life, he has to think. Generally, nobody thinks on what basis they are living life. They just live. They don't even think. So when false ego attack, mind can't let it go. It fixes on the insult and the philosophy behind it. That means we are trying to see what on what philosophy I am living my life. So it provokes apatya. From the laziness, he starts its provocation. It starts meditating. Like Krishna used the same exact method to focus Arjuna. So we start becoming attentive. How can he say like that to me? So if you attack him, na, immediately you will start listening to the person more attentively also. Calling Arjuna a no castrate, like he is telling, what do you say? uh, Arjuna, how come this impurity came? No, not that. He says eunuch. He calls this Arjuna eunuch. Who should be wear a sari and teach dancing, stalking him into extreme concentration before speaking Bhagavad Gita. Klaibyam mam samagamam partham naitat upabadyate. Kshudram hridaya daurbalyam. Klaibyam, he says, Arey eunuch, you lead us Brihannala in the Virata's kingdom, and now also you are still behaving like that. When Arjuna was told, immediately it hurt ego. How can you call me as eunuch? And he became more focused. So like that. So the mind is anchored to the absolute exclusively through the ear. So our process is hearing. That's very important. Tachrunu, listen to me. The essence of entire bhakti method is achieved through hearing, and the requirement of source is spiritual knowledge must be received from an absolute source or a walking tirtha, a pure devotee, not from a worldly upstart priding himself on mundane education. So the highest yogi is one whose mind is attached. This attachment is is forged through the reception of divine narratives. So two preacher must align internal devotion with external respect. To preacher, private sadhu is apichetu suduracharo. So anyway, satam krita shraddha shravanam and vidhunoti. So bhajana kriya and anartha nivritti. And then causeless grace remains dormant until activated by sincere effort. So this is the story. I will not go with these things now. But the main point is of this I want to tell that jnana and karma, ego cannot be suppressed. That's why we have to have bhakti in the process of karma and jnana. This is the main reason. Ego is suppressed when you give real ego. That is, I am servant. So they have to do devotion. They have to give that spiritual experience to the soul, then it will leave the ego. If you give a spiritual experience to the soul, it will leave ego. That is the point. So then we'll see the form of Lord. Like last time we were discussing the point why Lord's form is not visible, because that will not help us to develop devotion to Him in a in a, what do you say, in a uninterrupted, unmotivated love cannot be developed if we see the form. That's why Lord's form is not visible. So now here Daksha is getting the darshan of the form of Lord. So two reasons we discussed. Anybody remember what is the second reason? One reason I just told. Anybody remember the second reason? They can type in the chat box. What is the reason Lord is not visible? Really, nobody remembers. Two reasons I told. Yes, Gail Mataji.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, I can't type. Um, yeah, one reason I think was that if we saw the form of the Lord, it would be a kind of force, right? Because it's like, how can you see the greatness of the Lord and then not um, surrender to Him? Something like that, no? Did you say like that?
Only if you see his greatness, then you are doing service to him because of either out of fear or out of
Yeah,
obligation or out of
yeah.
some motive to get
That's why I
something.
said force. That's why I said it's like a force, like you're
Yeah,
being forced. It's not like voluntary anymore. It's like you're forced due to that obligation, that perception of greatness, you know? It's like you
yeah.
don't
Now,
really
what's the
have
second
choice.
reason? Yes, another reason.
Uh, the second reason, um,
You gave the second
yeah,
one. I
it's
was asking for the first.
yeah, okay. And I think the first one is when you're s- serving the Lord without seeing him, it's or maybe this is another way of saying the second one again. I don't know, but it's like you're doing it out of your is like voluntarily doing, and it's selfless. Yeah, it's you can feel like you're doing it more selflessly because there's nothing there to um there's no like selfish motivation because you're just doing it from your heart.
No, I will tell you the
No.
reason. See, see, I actually maybe I didn't explain properly. That's why I didn't understand. So I'll again tell.
No,
See,
I
first,
do. I remember I did understand, but I've just forgotten now. I think I've just forgotten
ah,
now.
see,
Hmm.
this is the reason. Our senses are meant to see the objects which we can enjoy. Senses exist to consume. Material senses are constructed specifically to enjoy objects. But Lord is not an object of enjoyment. Lord is an enjoyer. So Lord is not an object of enjoyment. He is ultimate experiencer. That's why we don't have access. Because our senses are in a mood of enjoying, they can never get access. Once our all our senses becomes in a mood of serving and to give enjoyment, then we can see the supreme enjoyer, Krishna. Because we want to give enjoyment, we can see a person who can receive our enjoyment. Now our senses want to receive enjoyment, no access. That is the main point. So this is more important, very important point. Our senses are not in a mood to serve. Their senses are in a mood of give, taking. Once we start giving, then they are completely full, 100% only giving. Then you will get a supreme object whom you can give. We give the story of a person who want to serve the greatest, and then he saw the village head was the great, so he wanted to serve him. Then he saw no the minister came, then he started serving the minister. Then he saw that he's serving the king, then he want to serve the king. Then he saw king is bowing down to a sadhu. He want to serve the sadhu. So he is always in a mood of serve. And sadhu said, "No, serve the Lord." So because he's in a mood of service, his senses get access to the Lord like that. So this was the first point. And second thing is, this is what we were saying. The Lord reveals himself in cosmic and so then these are the fear, compulsion, self-interest will be the problem. So these two reasons we discussed last time. So, and today's is karma jnana reason. I think that also we should. I will just. I'll finish with the last 2 points also in this. This is also important only. Means this all we have heard many times, so that's why I was not taking. Road of Sutam. Yeah, false ego is not destroyed, is finally placed where it belongs to. The final state is true liberation is never void. So we will come to the beautiful form of the Lord now. After hearing this, our meditation should happen on the form of Lord, how the Lord looks. So here we discussed till 34. Prabhupada is giving very, very elaborate purpose. Um, the Supreme Lord, who is inconceivable, opulent, who is devoid of all material name, form, pastimes, and who is all pervading, especially merciful to the devotees who worship his lotus feet. Thus he exhibits transcendental form and name with its different pastimes. May the Supreme Lord, whose form is eternal, full of knowledge, peaceful, be merciful. So you see, who is inconceivable, devoid of material form, pastimes, and is especially merciful devotee. What he is doing? He exhibits transcendental form name with his different pastimes in front of devotees. So for devotees, he is seen. So Nama Rupaha. So Lord is Nanama Rupa. Why? Anama Rupaha it is given. That means he don't have any material name. Material name is when senses are in a mood of enjoying, it's all matter. When the senses are in mood of service, it becomes spiritual. Prashadam is spiritual because we have already we have engaged in the service of Lord. That's why it became spiritual. When you are enjoying directly, it becomes bhoga. When you offer to the Lord, same food becomes prashadam, right? Why? Because it has a different access now, like that. So anama means having no name or but not material name, like that. So ajopisan avyatma bhutanam ishwaropinam prakritim swamadhishtaya sambhavame atma maya. So he is at a state of atma maya. न तस्य कारणं करणं च विद्यते सो न तत्समश्चापि कस्य दृश्यते परास्य शक्तिर विविधैव श्रूयते so Lord is operating with his energies स्वभाव की ज्ञान बल क्रिया च this is very important. They think that even if there is God, so he has nothing to do personally, for since his potencies are perfect, everything is immediately done by his will. So Supreme Lord is not revealed, cannot seen how he is working. Therefore, they think that he is not there. But he is happening is Swabhaviki. All his, like say, if mosquito is sitting on your back, your hand will automatically go to the back. You don't think that I have to lift my hand at this degree, at this height, and I have to beat the mosquito like this. We don't think. Hand is automatically going. This is called Swabhaviki. So Lord working with this material energy is also called Swabhaviki. It automatically happens. He not separately make an endeavor. Array, I have to work so hard. Now which Brahma to create, how the creation will happen, how many planets, this, that. No, no, no. It will happen on its own only. Lord did not make any separate. Like say if you construct any house or anything, we have to work so hard to maintain even our house also to keep it clean, neat and all. Lord don't have that problem. But because of that, people have problem. They say, Array, Lord created this world, but he could not maintain, he ran away. That's why there is so much chaos. So this is Jewish philosophy, somewhat. They say Lord created, but you don't have control over it because that's why the things are not working properly here. No, he has full control on it. Even though it looks like things are going bad and no, there are so many corruptions, so much destruction, so many species are getting extinct and wars are happening and no, very unjustly persons are in power and they are ruling and they are enjoying and then it looks like nobody is in control. No, it is in full control of the Supreme Lord. He knows what is happening and he knows how to settle these things. So that's what this shloka is telling that he works with his Sobhavaki Jnana Palakriyacha. And less intelligent men under the impressions that the Lord has no form. No, he has having Prakritim Swam Adhishtaya. Paritrana sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam. So many shlokas. And then he says, as the air carries various characteristics of physical body, like the aroma of a flower or coloring, resulting form a mixture of dust in the air, the Lord appears through lower system of worship according to one's desire. Although he appears as demigod and not in his original form, what is the use of those forms? May the original Lord, personality of God, please fulfill my desire. So he is understanding the difference between demigods and Supreme Lord. So Panchopasana is explained by Prabhupada here. No, Shaktas, Ganapatyas, and Shauryas, Vaishnavas. So this is Bhaktyama Mavijanati. Only by bhakti we can understand. And Swadeha Stam Harim Prahur. So this is from Madhvacharya. So we discussed this also. So now we see the form of Lord. Now Sukadeva Goswami explained, said, so Lord appeared in front of Dakshana. So means his absorption is so high. Iti Shutham Samstabhata Satasmin Agamarshane Pradushtasti Kure Seta Bhagavan Bhaktavatsalaha Kritapada Purnameshaye Pralambhasta Mahabhuja Chakra काशि चर्मेषु धनुपाश गदाधरः पीतवासागनः श्याम प्रसन्नावदने क्षणः वनमाला वितीताङ्गो लसचक्रीवतः शुतुभिः महाकिरीटकटक स्फुरन्मकरकुण्डला कञ्च कान्य अङ्गुलीयवल्या नूपुराङ्गदभूषितः त्रैलोक्यमोहं रूपं बिभृत्त्रिभुवनेश्वरः व्रतो नारदनाधार्य प्रासदीसुरयूतपैः सूतमानो अनुज्ञाद्भिः सिद्धिगन्धर्वचारणः. Sutta Goswami said, the personality of Godhead, Hari, who is extremely affectionate to his devotees, was very pleased by the prayers offered by Daksha. Thus, he appeared at the holy place known as Aghamarshana. O Maharaj Parikshit, west of the Kuru dynasty, Lord's lotus feet rested on the shoulders of his carrier Garuda, and he appeared with 8 long, mighty, beautiful arms. In his hand he held a disc, conch shell, sword, shield, bow, arrow, rope, and club. In each hand a different weapon, all brilliantly shining. His garments were yellow, and his bodily hue was deep bluish. His eyes and face are very cheerful, and his neck to his feet hung a long garlands of flowers. His chest was decorated with Kaustuba jewels and the mark of Srivatsa. On his head was a gorgeous round helmet, and his ears are decorated with earrings resembling sharks. All these ornaments were uncommonly beautiful. The Lord wore a golden belt on his waist, bracelets on his arms, rings on his fingers, and ankle bells on his feet. Thus decorated by various ornaments, Lord Hari, who is attractive to all the living entities of the three worlds, is known as Purushottama, the best personality. He was accompanied by great devotees like Narada, Nanda, and all the principal demigods, led by the heavenly king Indra. The residents of various upper planetary systems such as Siddhaloka, Gandharvaloka, Chanaloka, situated on both sides of the Lord and behind him, as well as those devotees offered him prayers continuously. So Lord did not come alone. He came with all his entourage. Now people may ask, Array, you are imagining the form in your mind, and you are a human being. You think Lord will also have a human form, like form. If a dog is worshipping for the dog, God will be like dog form. If any other animal is worshipping, Lord should be in that form. And another thing is your dress style, because you are in this culture of India, that's why you want to have dress style of Lord like this. So if a Westerner worships, then he will say, "My Lord, we should have jeans and T-shirt or whatever." So we should know that this is not imaginary description. That's why Bhagavatam is written in Samadhi Bhasha. Bhagavatam is in it's an experienced of it's a direct experience of the Acharya who is revealing it. It is not imaginations. It is pratyaksha, aporoksha jnana. You are directly perceiving and you are doing it, writing it. So it is. We should be very clear about this understanding. It is not imaginary thesis. रूपं तत् महत् आश्चर्यं विचक्षयागतसाद्वसः नानां दण्डवत् धूमं प्रहष्टात्मा प्रजापतिः. Seeing that wonderful and effulgent form of the Supreme Lord, Prajapati was first somewhat afraid, but then he was very pleased to see the Lord, and he fell to the ground like a stick to offer him respects to the Lord. So Daksha was very successful in bringing the Lord. Na kinchano dhira yutam akshat tivraya mudha apurat manodvarair hridan iva nirjaraihi. As the rivers are filled by water flowing from a mountain, all of Daksha's senses were filled with pleasure. You see, what is this means to have senses filled with pleasure? When Prabhupada write about Dhruva Maharaj also here. Because of his highly elevated happiness, Daksha could not say anything but simply remain flat on the ground. Now the point is, senses are serving, but still the ego is still there. That I also want to enjoy. That is where the karma mishra comes. Here, not that Daksha is not experiencing pleasure, he is getting spiritual pleasure only. But there is also some part of I also want to enjoy. That's why it is karma mishra and Daksha remains here only. So when actually realizes or sees the Supreme Lord, one is filled with complete happiness. For example, Dhruva Maharaj saw the Lord and Swamin Kritatosmi Varam na yachet. My dear Lord, I have nothing to ask for you. Now I am completely satisfied. Similarly, when Prajavat Daksha saw Supreme Lord in his presence, he simply felt flat, unable to speak or ask him for anything. So he was completely blissful. But we were discussing, ego is not completely purified unless we do pure devotional service. So the ego will remain in karma and jnana little bit. That is the reason they don't want to go to Vaikuntha and become completely surrendered to Lord. They say, Lord is there, he can help me do my things. In karma, like Daksha, they want Lord to help him in begetting the progeny and doing whatever things. In yoga, they want to serve the Lord and then they want to take help of Lord to come out of this metal entanglement. That's all. But they don't want to selflessly serve him because the ego remains of individual. I am separate from him. But in bhakti, we don't want to have separate ego. We don't have only one ego in relation to him. That is the success of bhakti. In karma and jnana, that is not there. The individual ego remains. That's a problem. So here, Dakshan, after experiencing so much, also we should get it out. Why? We could have asked Lord, okay, Lord, fine, let us go. Take me to spiritual world. No. Tam tatavanantam bhaktim praja kamam prajapatim chittagnya sarvabhutanam idam aha janardana. Although Prajapat Daksha could not say anything, when the Lord, who know everything, everyone's heart, saw his devotee prostrated in that manner and desiring to increase the population, he addressed him as follows. So first he offered Hamsaguhya prayers, then the Lord appeared. Again, after seeing the Lord, again he is offering. This is directly seeing the Lord and offering prayers. श्रीभगवानुवाच प्राचेष्टमहाभागा संसिद्धस्तपसा भुववान् यच्छ्रद्धया मत्परया मयि भावं परं गतः. The Supreme Lord, this okay, now Lord is speaking. The Supreme Lord said, O most fortunate Prachetasa, because of your great faith in me, you have attained the supreme devotional service, ecstasy. Indeed, because of your austerities combined with exalted devotion, your life is not successful. You have achieved complete perfection. Sorry, your life is now successful. So, successful again, Daksha goes back. Daksha could not understand the hint, maybe. Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhala mashashutam. Apnonti Mahatmanam Samsiddhim Paramangata. Once you reach the Lord, no coming back, but Daksha comes back. So, because they have, that is the problem. You have mixed, the ego is still maintained separately. So, Pritoham te prajanatha yete sho asho ashodhar bharanam tapa. Mama isha kama bhutanam yadbhu Yasur Vibhutaya. My dear Prajadaksha, you have performed extreme austerities for the welfare and growth of the world. My desire also is that everyone within the world be happy. I am therefore very pleased with you because you are endeavoring to fulfill my desire for the welfare of entire world. So Lord knows why Daksha is doing. He is not doing to go back, come back to God. He is doing tapasya to have more children. Uh, Actually, the purpose of the not just he's not have he don't want to have children for physical enjoyment. For him the having children is the ego level pleasure, much more subtle. It is not very gross pleasure. His level of pleasure is all the creating progeny. So what will Daksha get in creating progeny? He will the number one Prajapati and everybody will respect. So even everybody is standing when Daksha is coming, except for Brahma and Shiva, because that gives him what? It's not children, it's just what position we have. Like say people are reading, they are getting PhDs, double PhDs. If you see most of the degree what they are studying, they will never use also. So now what is the use of that knowledge? It is basically to increase the ego only. They get so much pleasure in having that ego. Okay, I did so many PhDs, whatever. It's not about that knowledge, it's about the ego. So here Daksha also want, because not just because he want to enjoy some physically, okay, nice children. Nice, more at that level. That's why Lord understood. He said, oh, you want to help. And Daksha is also interested to do that job. Say if now some temple president post is empty, and some devotees say, okay, I'll also apply for it. So now say, "Arey, you want to go back, come back to Godhead? No, I know I want to go back, come back to Godhead, but still, let me do this service for Prabhupada mission." So the point is what? There is already some karma mishra is there. Not that temple president is karma mishra bhakti. I am telling that some opportunity is there to become Prajapati. And we say, Arey, you want to go back, come back? No, no, let me try for this Prajapati post for some time and then eventually I'll go back. So that type of mentality is there. So Karma Mishra is there. We want to, not temple president, but if somebody says, okay, you can become Prime Minister of India, and say, okay, let me try this. I will do some service to the society. Like, so here Daksha also wanted to do that service. So Lord understood. So when creation comes, he needs that post will be empty every time. The Prajapati posts are empty whenever the creation comes. So who can apply, they can go there and they'll become that post. Because all the time, whenever Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, when the creation takes place again, and the living entities come forth from the body of various species to resume the activity. Now, who does the creation takes place in such a way that the living entity put? Why does the creation takes place? So then, sorry, some people like Daksha will enter into it. So Prabhupada is asking why there is suffering like that. So the Lord says, you desire to benefit all living entities? And that is also my desire. The living entity who come in contact with material world are meant to be corrected. All living entities within material world have revolted against the Lord, and therefore they remain within the material world as every condition. Very nice point. What Prabhupada is telling is, he is telling, okay, Daksha, living entities have to come to this material world because that will help them to rectify themselves and come back to God. Otherwise, they'll just remain a deep sleep state in a Mahavishnu body. So Lord says, okay, you are sleeping too much. You engage in some activity, and by chance, if you do devotion, I'll take you to spiritual world. And who will help this? So Prajapatis will help for us to give. The living entity who come in contact with material world are meant to be corrected. All living entities within the material world have revolted against the service of Lord, and therefore they remain within the material world as ever conditioned, Nitya Baddha, taking birth again and again. So they are given a chance to come out. And who helps Daksha Prajapati, such personalities? And they are living entities who knows about Lord, who know about spiritual world, but still they have some desire to do these things. So this divine energy of mind consisting of three modes of mental nature, very difficult to overcome. All living entities are caught there, and Krishna consciousness movement is not a fad. It is bona fide movement intended to provide the welfare for all conditioned souls. Kabu Swarga Uthaya, Kabu Naraka Daya. The condition sometimes descends to heaven, sometimes he is stuck in the hell. So here Prabhupada writing, you see, Prajapat Daksha is trying to benefit the conditioned souls by begetting them to give them a life with a chance for liberation. So the Daksha is really doing good job. Only thing is he had some pride and he offended Shiva, and then after that Narada Muni. That's a different question. But so similarly, when spiritual master trains the conditioned souls to become Krishna conscious, his position is successful. If one gives the conditioned soul a chance to become Krishna conscious, all his activities are approved by Supreme Lord. So we have to always see the difference very clearly. Where we have Karma Mishra, where we have Jnana Mishra, we all have, I already told many times. When the desire to enjoy, the desire to get free from sufferings. So we have two, three more verses. Idam paramam. Sorry, this is Prabhupada is quoting this verse. And in 44th verse, Brahma bhavo bhavantascha manavo vibhutayeshvara vibhutayo mama eta bhutana bhutahetavaha. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the all Manus, all the demigods in the heavenly planetary system, and your Prajapatis who are increasing the population are working for the benefit of all living entities. Thus, your expression of my marginal energy has as incarnation of my various qualities. So here Prabhupada is writing that there are two types of incarnations or expressions of Supreme. Okay, we'll any questions, comments? Till now we discussed how many are there. If no, then we'll continue tomorrow. I will yes, Gail Mataji, you have something.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, just one thing is about, remember when you were saying that the reason why that element of bhakti has to be there in Jnana Yoga, you know, or Ashtanga Yoga, that element has to be there because the false ego, in order to be uprooted, it has to have a positive ego, no? Or like a
At least little
like
bit of positive ego is compulsory.
yeah. So how is it that the Gyanis have even a little bit of positive ego when they are not at all interested in relationship with the personality of Godhead.
Because there that see, only some part they are getting experience, but they don't, like, unless you see somebody having that very intense desire, you associate with him, you cannot get that bhakti. You only get little bit of bhakti you are doing as a procedure to get free from the suffering or to do whatever liberation and all. So that is the point.
Yeah, but that doesn't sound to me uh, like a positive ego. You know what I'm saying? I don't see. I see only the negation of the false ego, but in their performance of that bhakti, you know, for them to have some small cultivation of positive ego, that sounds to me like they should have some small interest in relationship, right? I mean, otherwise, how is even small amount of positive ego going to be cultivated without that interest?
No, no, they are not cultivating out of interest. They are cultivating out of duty because they know that this will give me result. They are not cultivating out of like, they are not cultivating because they associated with devotees and they experience that. They are not doing like that. They heard that okay,
Mhm.
if ultimately they want to, their ego na of becoming one is not gone. That is the main point. They still have that ego.
Right.
Right. So then uh, then what happens is, like, say now I was told okay, now you want to go to this place to this place, or you want to achieve this, what you have to do, in between there is a temple, you go to temple and you offer something foods, some arati and some coconuts to the Lord. So I, while going, I did that, and then I could achieve what I wanted.
Yeah. Okay. So like a
So
means to an end, right?
yes,
Is it?
yes, yes.
Yeah. So it's a means to an end, but even though they're doing it for that, let me say, like fruitive mentality, you know, that 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 mentality is enough to cultivate some kind of positive ego that um, that can um, eliminate that false ego,
Yes,
even though
yes.
that is with that mentality.
Yeah, that much is sufficient.
That much is sufficient. Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. And by the way, that other reason why we don't see the Lord after you gave the explanation, then I fully remembered that you had to give it.
Yeah. I have to teach you nicely so that you remember more. I have to.
Yeah, yeah. No, I have to review more. I have to review more. But thank you, Prabhu.
Um, Sita Kamal.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Pranam.
Pranam.
Mhm. Prabhuji, I could understand the point when you said explain that Prabhupada has written in the purport that when Prabhupada says that people are sleeping in Mahavishnu's body, so it's time for them to go and engage in some activities. So he sent them to this loka. So Prabhu, we otherwise what I have understood all this time is that when we get envious, somehow that envy develops when we are serving Krishna and we want to enjoy the way Krishna is enjoying in this thing, Goluk Vrindavan. Then that when the envy comes, then Krishna sends us down and then Krishna says, go enjoy. So
We don't get envy only spiritual world because you should have some experience of comparison. You don't compare only anything. That's why you don't get envy. See, when we are envy, you are first rank, I am second rank. So then I will start comparing with you. Arey, she is first, I am second. So then I'll be envious. But there is nothing like that. You don't enjoy only separately something. So where is the question of envy? Say if you say there is first and second, then there is envy. But in spiritual world, there is no first and second only. Everything is perfect. It is absolute only. Like you are first rank. I am in my quality. I am first rank. Like I can only do a garland. So I'll be first rank in garland. Somebody will be. They can only pluck the flowers. They are first rank in plucking flowers. So everybody is perfect in their service. So there is no question of me only.
okay. But Prabhu, then when we say that we all belong to spiritual world and somehow we have come to this earth, then what is that somehow? What's the reason? I thought I have understood through lectures this reason only that somehow we develop any. Although in spiritual world everyone helps each other to
No, we didn't
to
come from
serve better.
spiritual world first of all. We
We
were
did not
never
come from
there
spiritual.
only to come. No, we were never there.
So we
Now
were
we have to go there.
okay. Okay. But Prabhu, we are
So
spiritual beings. We
Prabhupada
are
is
eternal.
writing because Prabhupada is writing like that because he is teaching to audience of that type of understanding. So Prabhupada has to write because in Christian understanding, no, there is back to Godhead and other things are from Christian understanding. So Prabhupada was preaching to that type of audience. So he made them to make it little simplify for them. He told, okay, you are from there, you came back, now we have to go back. But that is not, he wanted to he cannot tell that no, we are not there, now we go back. So then it will be more confusing for them. Then where were we and why we why the situation. So it is little difficult to for them to comprehend. So Prabhupada has to explain in that language. That's the point. But our acharyas, they clearly tell that we were never there.
So where were we, Prabhu, then?
We were Brahma Jyoti.
So we were all in Brahmjyoti. From there we came down.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right, right. So, Prabhu, so when just Krishna is eternal, we are also eternal. Matlab, there is no point when we were not there, right? So, so when we were, so from the inception, from the very, I don't know, but so we have always been every living soul has always been in the Brahm Jyoti only, and then they come back here, and from here their journey starts. Whether they want to go to Vrindavan or lower planets or higher planets.
Yeah.
So is this the journey?
Yes. We don't know when it
Hmm.
started, but somewhere it
Hmm.
started, and then we are just wandering in this material world. There is no starting. It's just we
There's
cannot
no point.
understand only that starting point.
Okay. Okay. Right, Prabhu. Ji, ji. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Mm. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Yes, Keshav Primath.
Prabhuji, thank you for that two things. Prabhuji, first, why we're not able to see God. And today, what we discussed, Prabhuji, I forgot.
Today,
Discussed. Today, what is that? We continuation we discussed today. What did we discuss? Prabhuji?
today I was
Starting.
telling why bhakti is compulsory because
Yeah, why
falsely.
Kambati is compulsory. Can Prabhuji please post that PPT also, Prabhuji?
Yes.
And Prabhuji, the last discussion, you said, na Prabhuji, very easily, very coolly, you are telling Prabhupada gave, wrote like this because of the audience, Prabhuji. When we discuss with devotees, even devotees are telling, Did Prabhupada mention anywhere? Are you speaking for Prabhupada? Do you know why Prabhupada selected? They're asking us, Prabhuji. So, in such a case, how to
Don't discuss
tell
with
this?
them. Let's
Devotees
say,
only, Prabhuji, like very senior, I mean, very experienced and very nice devotees only. It's not that they're not against learning, but they're asking us, how could you interpret what Prabhupada says that I said for this audience? Did
no,
Prabhupada
we are
mention
not
it anywhere?
interpreting. We are just going with acharyas. Whatever acharya said, we are doing that only.
Mm.
We are not interpreting. We are just telling what acharyas told. We are just trying to explain that only.
No, Prabhuji, if we say, why did Prabhupada give it that way? You said
Why
no,
he
nothing.
Prabhupada gave, I gave an explanation, but then
Mm.
Prabhupada should be in line with acharyas, na?
Uh.
I am telling why Prabhupada gave, why he's, if somebody asks why Prabhupada is speaking against acharyas, because acharya
Mm.
says something and Prabhupada says something. That should,
Mm.
the
That should
question
not be
should
there.
be
Mm.
Prabhupada is speaking what acharyas is speaking and why Prabhupada is speaking something else. Then
Mm.
our answer is no, Prabhupada is not speaking something else. He is only making us understand what acharyas are telling in a according to that context, that situation, he is speaking that.
Mm. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Right. Any other question, comments? Something in chat box. I have heard from feminists why God has to be a male and why not female. It all comes from the concept of not understanding the form of Lord from scriptures. Lord is both female and male, both. That's why Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He has the mood of Radharani and he is the form in a male form. So it's a combination of both. We are not one. It is a combination of both are there. So that's the concept. Our understanding is completely different. Hare Krishna.